You attend a Scrum Master interview and your interviewer asks you a question. As a Scrum Master, if a product owner comes to you with a new work or with a different story that was not planned during the sprint, what would you do so there's a different way how they can ask this in an interview. They might even ask you directly like, what would you do with the scope change in the middle of the sprint, or how have you handled scope change in the middle of the sprint, or what are things you do as a Scrum Master to ensure that you are able to manage or track all the scope changes that will happen in a sprint. Welcome back to Aisha Scrum platform. I'm very happy to have you all join my platform. For my new subscribers and my existing subscribers, I welcome you all to my channel. So today's channel, I'm going to be answering like 3 questions of interviews, and my goal is hopefully to answer this very difficult interview question and also explain the reason why sometimes companies might ask you this question, so that I can also give you an example like how I can answer this in an interview. And by the way, this is my own answer, and my answer do not mean that it's better than your answer. This is just different example or scenario I'm giving on how I will answer this in an interview. And I also welcome you all in the comments, in the chats, like if you have any different way you will answer this. I really appreciate that, because to be honest, that will help our audience in the channel, right? I'll have my own opinion, and you all out there to Agilists, you also have your own opinion in the channel, which I welcome all of this. So if you basically go to an interview and you are asked this question about scope change, so there might be a different reason why company might ask you this in an interview. So as me, the Scrum Master, that will be a potential candidate for this company. So I'm thinking that, one, either they have a lot of scope change issues in their company, whereby team will basically plan for work and then halfway through the sprint, they are unable to meet all their goals due to too many scope change happening. That might be one reason. Other reason would be that this actual team or this actual company, that based on the nature of their work, they do want a Scrum Master that will be open-minded, that will be flexible for all of these changes happening, right? And they want to see how you will approach things in your own point of view. And to be honest, there is no right or wrong answer when it comes to answering scope change. You always answer this based on your own experience, what you've been familiar with, how you've handled it in the past, right? So these are just different reasons why you might be asked this question. But how I'm going to answer this question will basically, I'll just tell them, like, by the way, when it comes to scope change, I know I've worked for different companies and we've handled this differently based on the nature of our work, based on the challenges we face on the team, and based on how as a team we plan for the scope change. And in my own experience, as soon as I am presented with the scope change with the product owner, that will present this to a team. So the first thing I always do is to ask, oh, what happened with the scope change? Is it something that just come out of nowhere before sprint planning? Is there like emergency situation? How critical is this new work that you're about to present to the team? I'll always question the scope change and ask the question about this particular scope change, so that I'm ensuring that it's something that is going to be of importance, or if something that can wait. Yes, I know that when it comes to scope change, when it comes to all changes in Agile, we've always been coached and told that Agile is flexible, is being open, even going back to our Agile manifesto, saying that one of the principle number 4, meaning that we should also respond to change over following a plan. It is true, in sprint planning, we still have to plan, right? They are valuing responding to change over following a plan. That does not mean that we do not plan. That's why we have sprint planning, right? But it's very important for me to also discuss and assess all of those changes that's coming in. Just for us to see that, number 1, if it's something that's important, something that we can wait for next sprint, or if it's going to affect our original overall plan or our overall goal, if you like delivery or any of so. And let's say this particular scope change is something that's of a value and is very important, and something that also relates to our sprint goal, then that's for sure we're going to bring it to the team, right? We'll have a conversation around it, have a discussion to ensure that particular scope change will meet our definition of ready. If not, follow up and see what we can do to ensure that it meets that, so the team can even work on it. In my company, we also do relative estimation to ensure that we have a conversation and estimate that particular story, and then we'll see who will volunteer with the team, where they can leave back their current work and now pick up this new prioritized work and add it to the sprint. So that's just one way and one example how I've handled scope change in the past. And sometimes based on the discussion we have as a team, sometimes we'll deem that scope change is something that's not of a value that we can wait for later. There's more valuable item in our sprint that we must address. So that's how you're going to answer this in the interview. And by the way, I'm just giving all this detailed explanation just to tell you how I'm coming up with this answer, just to help you all out there. I know for some people, a lot of people that watch my channel are actually very new to Agile. And sometimes you all send me emails, so like, oh, Aisha, I don't understand this, I don't understand that. So that's why I'm going a little bit detailed. And for my practicing Scrum Masters, you all know that there is always a different ways we can address this. So that's question number one. By the way, if you've been finding my content valuable, like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. My goal is to get to a 10,000 subscriber in next year of August in 2024. All of your like, your follow, everything will mean a lot to this channel. I really appreciate it. And if you are interested in mentorship, do not hesitate to email me at admin@aishascrumtech.com. You can also check our website, aishatech.com. Alright, let's get to the next question. So the next difficult interview question I'm going to address is, recently I had an email with one of you that subscribed to my channel, was saying that, oh Aisha, I attended an interview and the interviewer was asking me, what is the difference between being agile and doing agile? And at first I was like, oh, it's all the same thing. It's all connected to one another. But I still would like your inputs to please address this in your next interview Q&A on YouTube. And yes, I listen to you all's comments down below. I will look at all the questions that you all sometimes post in there. I also read emails, right? And some of you know that you reach out to me, I do respond. So yeah, this actual question I'm addressing is coming from one of you or one of my subscribers, which my goal is to answer this in this now Q&A question. So when you're asked about what's the difference between being agile and doing agile, sometimes you might be asked this question in a company that sometimes very new to agile, right? Where they are having challenges with team members or even sometimes leadership or management, understanding the value of the mindset part of being agile and understanding the importance of going back to our agile manifesto and not just so focused about doing agile, which is the Scrum and Kanban, right? Maybe companies are having challenges with getting the people at their company to understand that difference. And they want a Scrum Master like us that will come in and basically educate these people, not only to show focus about facilitating or going over your events, right? But they want someone that actually have that agile mindset, right? And know how they can communicate this, right? And explain this to people at work where they will know how is both different or how are both similar. Or what does it mean of you being agile or doing agile, right? This is actually a very, very important question about mindset and all of that. And also people, what they see, and right? So that's why it's important that this company is actually asking this question. And by the way, how I've answered this question when it comes to being agile and doing agile, I'm like, oh, that's actually a very good question. When it comes to being agile for me, as always, I always personalize my answer. I always will talk about my own experience, what I've also experienced in companies and my job, right? I'll be like, oh yeah, this is actually a very good question because I've also worked for a company that's going through agile transformation, and I've noticed and I've seen a lot where team and sometimes people that are actually very new to agile are so obsessed with ensuring that everyone like will be in this daily scrum, and we are actually like doing all the scrum events and also estimating right, having the right amount of story points in user story, ensuring that everyone have the equal amount of work in the backlog, ensuring that it's like all this structural thing, and they have this certain exact step-by-step in processes that they want people to follow. Although there's nothing bad about doing Scrum or doing Agile in some certain way, but it's extremely important for the team to understand the value of having the mindset, right? And that's where being Agile comes in place. That's why we have our Agile manifesto, which will drive our behavior into now having that mindset and flexibility, and now doing Agile, which is can either be Kanban, Scrum, right? All these different ways we can do Agile, you know. And it's very important as team will also like to work together collaboratively, which is what we want in a team, where the team will collaboratively work together, have the mindset of delivering value, have the mindset and ensure at all times we're having our customers in mind. At all times we are writing user story that focus on the end user and not the people doing the work. Like all these different attributes, and being open-minded, responding to change, having the growth mindset, all of that relates to being agile. And that's extremely important, having that mindset and thinking, and then that will help you now do agile, because adding that mindset will help you do agile. And doing agile is basically our team seeing the value of doing all of the scrum events, like attending our sprints planning, attending our daily scrum, having collaborative nature, having communication, having our sprint goal, and at the end ensuring that we are having this value delivered, and at all time we are open for feedback, and also we reflect on all of these changes. So to me, that's the two different things that that's different between both. And also you are right, they are both very connected, because agile is the umbrella, and under agile we have scrum, we have Kanban, we have different ways of doing agile. So that's how we answer this in an interview question. And by the way, if you've been finding my content valuable, like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. So the last interview we're going to cover today is basically, what would you do as a Scrum Master if you notice that your team continue to have spillover, like constantly, sprints to sprints, your team continue to have spillover? So that they can ask you the question that way. Another way they can ask this question is, what would you do as a Scrum Master if your team will continue to have carryover or uncompleted work, or work, like basically team continue to commit and not complete? What would you do as a Scrum Master? It's actually a very difficult interview question. And if you attend the Scrum Master interview and you are asked this question, so that means that's giving you a thing that this actual team I might be facing, they're actually having a lot of challenges in having spillovers, you know. And it's very important when you are asked this question. Sometimes they might ask you like, okay, let me tell you about my problem, our job. We have these teams that we're actually looking for Scrum Master. Their challenges, they've been having spillover, they don't complete all of their work, and there have been a lot of challenges to get them to meet our deliverables and all these milestones set up for the team. And how would you come in and make all those changes and make an impact to this team? They might ask you this question another way, that way. Or they might actually like, oh, how would you solve this problem, you know? And it's very important to know that. Don't go in there and start saying, okay, what I will do is I will come in, I'll talk to the team, I'll look at our estimation, I'll look at our backlog. Don't talk about I will, right? They don't want to know. Although they're trying to dig a hole, trying to put you into their own problem, it's sad that they have that problem, right? But try as much as possible to bring them to your own experience, right? To bring them to your own story. Bring them to your own things or similar situation you faced in the past, right? Because you might go in there, start saying, I will do this, I will do that, I will do that. They look at you like, what you are saying can help, but the problem that we are facing is this. And you're not been there. You don't know the problem because you don't work for them yet. You don't know the company. But instead, if you bring them to your own experience or similar situation you faced in the past, that will give you control over the interview, right? That's very important. So the first and foremost way for you to answer this question is to bring them to a similar situation you faced in the past, right? Similar situation you faced in the past. You go in there and you explain that in your own term, you know? And if you've never had this experience about spillover and you're a new junior Scrum Master, and you still should maybe let them know, oh, actually I'm a new Scrum Master, I've never actually I didn't get a chance yet to facilitate team, but I'm very flexible, I'm open, I know it's part of a way how team can work. I will come in there and guide and support the team, right? You can do that by summarizing it that way. Will even be better than you trying to solve their own problem that you have no idea about, right? But for people that have experience, that actually know, or they have actually experienced spillover, they have actually experienced all of these challenges, you basically will give them similar situation you faced in the past. Like, oh, actually I've faced this similar situation in the past in my company, so and so. So the first thing I did in this case was actually to present my team like past velocities to show like how come, to show them like, oh, we've actually maybe either be overcommitting, or we have to look at how we currently, the way how we are estimating. And I looked at it and I noticed that and I showed the team like, this is all where we currently stand. We've been committing to like 80 story points, and at the end we've been completing 20. So I think it's very important for us to be realistic with our sprint commitments as we plan during sprint planning. And I looked at all of that and I noticed that they basically like they were having challenges with estimation. So I did like an estimation workshop to have a conversation with the team and teach them better technique on estimation and follow our company's policies, and also ensuring that there is this good alignment between the team when it comes to estimation. And also the team all participating in estimation using the planning poker or the agile poker tool. And after implementing this with my team after a couple of sprints, that helped improve drastically, and also getting our team to reduce our commitment in the initial sprint to like in a workable state, whereby we actually even introduce the confidence votes, like how confident are we can complete the story. And of course sometimes we still will have some spillover. That's sometimes part of our learning process, but at least we have some kind of realistic spillover. So I continue to do this for the team, and that's why we went from spilling over like almost half of our story at the end of each sprint, so us now limiting that spillover to like at least quarter of it, which is like a huge improvement for my team. So that's the one way you can answer this question. And if you have experience, you can further explain what are the steps and things you've done. And you can actually even turn this to like a whole scenario technique, like the STAR approach technique, like the situation, the task and hand, the action, you take a recommendation. You can also use that approach to even answer this: how can you prevent spillover, or how have you dealt with carryover in the past? If you're interested in mentorship, do not hesitate to email me at admin@aishascrumtech.com. You can also check my website at www.aishatech.com. Thank you all for watching this series of interview question and answer. I hope to see you all again in my next video.